baseball lifestyle. It's my lifestyle.
No, he doesn't have that little.
One of my favorite Maroon 5 adjacent stories, since we're talking about them.
Maroon 5 adjacent.
I was at Verizon one time getting Jen a new phone, and the guy next to us was being sold the speaker system.
Nice.
By the rep, and the rep's like, "Oh, why don't you test it out? Tell us what kind of music you like." It's like, "I like hard rock." And then he's like, "All right, we'll put on whatever you want." And he proceeds to go and search Maroon 5 on YouTube and then play a Maroon 5 song.
What did he play, though?
I don't really remember. All I know is it was definitely more of a poppy song. So.
Okay. Do you have a favorite Maroon 5 song?
No.
Did he put on Moves Like Jagger?
No, that's not the best song. That's not even
No, I'm
close.
not saying it's the best song. I'm just saying, like, did that guy pop on little Moves Like Jagger?
The most aggressive line, I think one of the more aggressive lines that you didn't expect in a song ever was, I'm blanking on what her name is, in the song with Maroon 5, Cardi B. When she says, and play with my kitty like you play with your guitar. Wow.
I mean, it's Cardi B, but yes, I know I can like hear the song in my head. I just don't know what it is, what the name of it is. Have we been recording?
Yeah.
Excellent, glorious. Welcome back to the Grounds Crew, ladies and gentlemen. This is our recap of the first week of baseball. So happy to be back. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe. Toss us a review. Follow us on all social platforms at @_Grounds Crew. Guys, I'm going to jump right into the most important thing from last week. Most important thing. Sean Murphy is gosh darn caked up.
Caked up. That's a fat ass.
Yes. He took a pitch, the little like curveball went behind his back, and he just threw it back and hit it right on the cheeks.
Twerked himself right into the ball.
Yep.
And just launched that thing off his ass.
Yeah, and social media had an absolute field day with it, which I truly
deservedly
loved.
so.
Yes, truly loved. There were so much sus comments on all the videos of it, like Sean Murphy, you're about to make me act up.
Yeah, thanks.
It was amazing.
Damn, boy, he thick. Yeah.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
Crazy,
but yeah, that was a little just a good piece of content to come out of baseball last week. Yeah, good stuff. While we're on great content that comes out of baseball, also, I don't know if you guys have seen his videos yet, but Joey Votto on TikTok is just an absolute delight. Have you watched any?
I've seen some. I've seen him start to do. I think I saw the one with like the shoe, and he like pivoted into him being dressed up. Yep. I saw him post that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he hasn't been fully on my feed yet, but I've seen him.
Yeah, well, after this episode, I need you to go give him a watch because he's doing some dancing. Like he's getting into it, and obviously it's like Joey Votto, so it's just automatically comedic. I think he already has like 100,000 followers or something like that. Just he's hitting 1 million every single time.
Love it.
Dennis, have you been watching? I know you're a big Canadian fan.
I have not, because I do not go on TikTok.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need you guys to do research after this.
Just admitted to not liking Joy, but...
It's okay. It's fine, Dennis.
Follow Robert Fettuccini on TikTok if I ever do anything.
Yeah. Maybe he'll get in some actually successful bets.
Yeah.
In other great news, very exciting.
Oh, well,
Dennis
Dietz.
I need you to hit me with it. Hit the Kwan, please.
Oh, we're hitting the Kwan. So, Stephen Kwan, he has reached base safely 19 times in his first 6 career games. So, it's 29 plate appearances he's reached safely 19 times. That's the second most since Jay Bruce did in 2008, where he did 20 times. Is that the name you were thinking of before the show, Bill?
No, sir.
Okay. I know they were talking about him as like that comp of Jay Bruce. So
to me, it's not just, I'm not just looking in isolation to the getting on base function, right?
I have more numbers.
Go ahead, hit me with everything.
On Wednesday, he struck out for the first time since September 21st of 2021. That includes all spring training and minor league games. So he's definitely a good contact hitter. He doesn't strike out often. Mm-hmm. First 5 games of the season, he was 10 for 15, And after going 0 for 4 on Wednesday, his season numbers have been brought to a very sad 526 batting average and 1392 OPS.
So there's where we'll kind of sit on, right? We always go by OPS, right? OPS is a more consolidation of all of the things that you do well, kind of factored together. His hit tool has been fantastic, right? His power tool's been solid, right? So the player that I'm talking about, because again, when we're looking at Hit the Kwan right now, we're only seeing roughly in the ballpark of 29 plate appearances, 19 at bats. So when I'm looking at that, I had to find the player who I thought of. I looked at just his first roughly 20 at bats. And when I looked at his first 20 at bats, after he had gotten through his first 20 at bats, he had a 1913 OPS. He had a 500 batting average, a 600 on base percentage. He was slugging 13-13, right? So for almost a 2,000 OPS, right? That actually brought him down from where he had been the game before, which was a 2163 OPS, because sadly he didn't hit 2 home runs in that next game like he did the game before, where he went 4 for 5 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 1 double. This was his rookie year as well. He was also roughly around the same age as Kwan. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? I'll give you some more info.
Is he a Met?
He is a Met.
Of course.
Again, I know what I know, right? So this player finished his rookie season with 100 at-bats. In 100 at-bats, he had a 310 on batting average, a 375 on base percentage. He slugged 710. He had 1,085 OPS and 100 at-bats.
Jose Reyes?
Nope.
David Wright?
11 home runs in 100 at-bats.
David Wright?
Nope.
Carlos Beltran?
Nobody's going to get it. It's rookie year.
How long ago was this?
2005. Nobody's going to get it because they don't remember it.
Mike Cameron.
You're close with the word Mike. But again, Mike Cameron wasn't a rookie on the Mets. You're almost there, but I'm going to give it to you now because you failed. Mike Jacobs. Mike Jacobs.
Why do you I actually do remember that.
Because at the time, you guys want to talk about what is a phenomenon? My man hit 11 home runs in his first 100 at-bats as a player in the world. He just came up and thumped. He had over 1,000 OPS and 100 at-bats. Like this was the oh my God, Linsanity. This was the same thing. Because you got to think 2005, this is peak Mets. Right? This is this is entering in Jose Reyes, David Wright, Carlos Beltran, then Carlos Delgado, like all that stuff. This dude was right there in the midst of all of that as a rookie. Bang, 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 bang. All he did was slay. So, again, Kwan is killing it, right? I would take the Mike Jacobs start over the Kwan start because of the power numbers.
To the power, yeah. I mean, he is not a power guy at all. But I think they're like talking about his hit tool. Apparently, his swing and miss rate is like
30% or 3%.
3%, yeah, which is like leaps and bounds over anyone in the minors or major leagues. He's a freak.
Freezoid.
And part of his little streak was he hadn't swung and missed at anything until yesterday's game, which is also insane.
That's what's crazy. The craziest thing about what he's done is that.
Yep. And even his quote unquote swing and miss was a foul tip. It's just because the catcher caught it, it counts as a whiff. But he did not touch the ball.
Facts.
So it's just absolutely wild what he's doing. Would love to see him just carry it all the way and carry the Guardians to a wild season. That'd be cool.
I agree.
But
the Guardians are already off to a great start, though.
Speaking of which.
Yeah. All 45 runs that they've scored, not 38.
That's how we do math here.
44 in the last 4 games, though. They only scored 1 in the first 2.
Right, no, I just had 6 games because it's the beginning of the season.
He's right. 44 in the last 4 is where the magic.
They are mashing. What's their pitching stats like? Do you have those? I know Tristan pitched really decently well yesterday.
I think Tristan had 5 strikeouts. I'll look up the Guardians game log while you guys talk.
Yes, but also I know you're just talking about how many 100 at bats.
100
for Mike Jacobs.
Yeah,
and he had 11 bombs.
11 bombs.
Okay, so Vlad has 4 and 23 at bats.
Right. Which, to put that in perspective, right, that means he's on pace for 16 home runs.
Yep.
Which is nutty, right? Which is already nutty.
Yep. He's batting 391 right now.
But this is the pace that Jacobs was on in his first 5 games.
Yep.
He had 4 home runs in his first 5 games that he came up. So,
he's picking up where he left off in a huge way.
So somebody said the craziest stat about Vladdy now at this point though is that he is hitting a home run, once every less than 5 games.
Okay.
So he has at least a home run in every 5 games he plays in, right? And it's closing in on every 4 games,
right?
Because he's got 350 games played, and he's got 75 home runs, right? So when we start to math these things out, he's roughly every 4.67 games he's hitting a home run. That's crazy.
Yep. And you know what it is too? He's not the way his swing is set up. As much as he hits for power, he hits line drive home runs.
He's very compact.
Yes, and his bat to ball is crazy. His hard hit is crazy. So on top of the fact that he hit it was 48 home runs last year, he also batted .311. He just crushes everything, and he's getting better. So it's going to be interesting this AL MVP. That's all I have to say. And speaking of our AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani is not off to a hot start with the bat. I think he has 2 hits or something, no home runs.
Well, my favorite was when he was given CPR to his bat.
Yes, that was amazing. And I was saying that to Dennis too. He's such a lovable guy.
Yeah.
He was just having fun with it. He knows that whatever. It's the first 5 games. He'll figure it out. But you see he's very relaxed.
Yeah.
And he pitched fantastic. I think 5 innings with 7 or 8 Ks, something like that.
Yeah.
So that was good to see from him because early in last year he kind of was a little all over the place. I think he only had 1 walk in 5 innings too.
I think that's the biggest part for him. It's that he's not walking. He's swinging at everything. He's got to I don't have to swing at everything. Mm-hmm. I can chill because nobody wants to put it in the zone, and he's used to hitting everything. It's just let him throw it out of the zone for a little while. Take some walks. You're fast. You don't have to follow up your MVP season with every day I'm an MVP. Be an MVP level player, 40 times out of 160 games, you'll be fine.
Yep.
So
utilize the people around you. We talked about that. Don't try and press so much. Let Mike Trout be Mike Trout a little bit. Just put bat to ball.
And then just let the Ohtani watch live.
Yep. Dennis, you have those numbers?
So pitching-wise, what do you want to know exactly?
Just give me the ERA, runs, things like that, Ks.
Well, Tristan, I think, is down to a 2.75. He did pitch well.
Okay.
After a meh start.
Yes, his first outing wasn't great.
His first outing was also a relief appearance.
Right.
I had it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I lost it. Hold on.
5.
Hold on.
4.
So Shane Bieber's got a 2.7 ERA. Zach Plesac has a 0 ERA. I mean, Tristan McKenzie's got a 2.57. They're giving up runs in the bullpen. It looks more than their starters.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's good. Similar to the Mets, but we'll get to them later.
That.
Yeah. Juan Soto hit his 100th home run.
And at the ripe old age of 12.
Yep. I think it was top 5 or something like that in the speed of getting to 100 home runs. I forget what the stat was. But he's already on a Barry Bonds level pace.
Which is crazy because doesn't that mean that the pace that Vladdy's on is going to be faster? Because isn't Vladdy 2 seasons behind?
I think so.
Let's look it up.
Right? I think Vladdy's 2 seasons behind, and he's at 75 already. That's closing in on fastest clips ever.
Juan Soto's how 3-4 seasons?
So Soto, this has got to be his 5th year, right?
Yeah.
Overall, this is Juan Soto's 5th.
Vladdy's at 76 career home runs as of right now, and that's in 1,300 at bats.
And only 1,300 at bats?
12, yeah.
How many plate appearances? So that's
the plate appearances is 1,479.
So that's the big thing to me. It's the plate appearances because that shows me how many times you actually got up to rock. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference is that the 2020 season just kind of pulls down.
Yep.
This is technically Soto's 5th season, but that 3rd year was just shortened when he was 21. This is Vladdy's 3rd year, right?
4th. 2019 he played.
Yep.
Okay, then I Soto and him are going to be neck and neck. They're going to be neck and neck. It's going to be close, which is crazy because Soto hasn't been the bomber, right? Like he's hit home runs, but it's not like he's sitting there trying to tilt. Mm-hmm. He's just like, yeah, his best season ever was 34 home runs.
Right. Was that last year?
No, last year was only 29.
Okay.
Like, and that's my point.
How many did Soto have in his rookie year?
22.
Okay, so Vlad had 15 in his rookie year in 123 games.
And Soto had 116 games, 22.
So better start.
You know what I saw that I thought was interesting too on Pete Alonso? There was a stat that he has like the 5th most home runs in his first 3 seasons, like of all time, and that's including the 2020 season.
Yeah.
And like, if you just gave him a full season there, he's dramatically ahead of all those guys.
He's way ahead of everybody.
So,
because last year was considered a down year for Pete. He had 37 home runs.
Yep.
Like, bonkers.
And in 57 games in 2020, he had 16?
He had 16 in 57 games, too.
So call it triple that for fun?
He had about a third of the at-bats. Mm-hmm. So that year, he was on pace for about 48 home runs.
Yep.
Not
bad.
Yeah. Not bad, Bob. Yeah, he's a tank. He's a tank.
Also, speaking of home runs, Pujols hit his 680th with his first with the Cardinals since forever.
The old ass man.
Yes. Dennis, what did you think he's going to get to 700 this year, right? That was your prediction.
So he was 21 away to start the season, so now he's 20 away. But I also said 35 home runs just to be spicy.
Right.
Just to be extra spicy.
Just to be extra fun. We'll see. I hope he gets there. That'd be epic.
And the most controversial thing that happened in baseball in the first week was Kershaw. So I was in a meeting, and I was talking to a bunch of people, and I was on a Zoom call, and all of a sudden, I get the stat that they pulled him from a perfect game after 7 innings and only 80 pitches.
Yep.
And not only on 80 pitches, he struck out 12 freaking people on only 80 pitches, right? To be perfect in that scenario is 36 pitches, right? Like, he absolutely diced.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was one of the hottest of hot takes that we also put out there that day was Kershaw, but we all loved that one. I think everybody was like, ooh, that's a great one. With Kershaw being, Cy Young Award-winning level player.
Yep. Just convenient.
I agree with what they did.
Yes, there's definitely two sides to look at it. I think from my prediction of him getting a Cy Young, he needs to pitch the full season, and him hurting his arm in his first start is not how you're going to go about that. Yep. But great first start, sure. And that's, he even said, like, blame the lockout. This is why I didn't get to ramp up, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the right move for longevity, but also I think in that situation I would at least take it batter by batter. And not like 80 pitches. Like it's not a substantial amount where even if he went out one more inning and threw 10 more, I don't think it's going to end his season. And if he happened to throw 10 more and get out of that inning, now you're going into the 9th inning, he has 90 pitches
But he was on a 75 pitch limit.
Sure. Oh no, I'm sure he was.
They already gave him the 5 extra to finish it all up. Like
it hurts. It's just because it's baseball history. Like
again, I don't care. I think we get too romantic about history of stuff. But like, look back at Johan Santana and letting him throw 147 pitches, whatever it was, to get the no hitter. Ultimately, that ended his career. He was never the same again.
But I think that's honestly, I think perfect game and no hitters are vastly different. People have been pulled constantly from no hitters.
Yeah,
but that's like a perfect situation of you can finish a perfect game and like not be in like.
Yeah, but you do
like
that
long-lasting injury.
If his goal is to win a World Series with his team,
right,
and he's gone because he gets hurt.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm here. I get it.
I would have liked to at least see, because you never know. Maybe he goes out there and throws 4 pitches and gets out of the inning. Like, I don't know.
You know what? But also maybe he goes out there and he throws 1 pitch and a comebacker comes, hits him in the face and ends the season.
You're right.
Also,
100%.
Like, this is not.
I get it.
Your goal is to win. They're spending a lot of money to win the thing, not for him to be celebrated forever.
Yes.
And he said after the game himself, too, like, it was the right decision. We want to win a World Series. Like, would it have been cool? Yeah, but I'm paraphrasing, of course.
But we have a goal. So we always talk about team first and what we want like players to act like. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this was an opportunity. Nah, we're getting rid of this. So it was the right move for me personally.
That's okay. No, I get it, and I hope that this is just a great start for him to be like, all right, I'm going to go out and have a Cy Young year. That would just be like, you can't start any better. So, perfect. Staying in the NL West for a minute, 2 things to note. A, the Giants had the first female coach ever on field in their game against, I think it was the Marlins. Alyssa Nakin coached first base, which is huge. I think we have to keep highlighting all the different things that have been happening with women in baseball. Very exciting. I think it's very cool, and I'm happy that they're doing that and making strides that way. I know that I've seen nothing but praise about her and all the different stuff, so that's good stuff there.
And Rachel Balkovich won her first game.
Yep. You also see she got
manager.
Smoked in the face by a line drive.
Love that. Did not see that.
Yeah, she's like a giant black eye. And then obviously the team seems to really like her, so they got her like a Yankees themed football helmet to like wear for the first game.
Nice, with a mask on it.
Yep.
Good work.
So that was pretty funny. In the Giants game, also, because I just thought it was hysterical that this happened. Another Fernando Tatis, you're a young player in baseball thing, but not about Tatis, just from referencing the 2020 incident. Mauricio Dubon, in the 6th inning of the game, the Giants were up 10, bunted for a hit. Perfect bunt, quick single. And the Padres coaching staff was furious about it. And I even saw on Twitter a little bit, like, the old heads of like, oh, whatever, you guys are up by a bunch, like, don't do that.
No.
Stop it. It's the 6th inning.
Absolutely.
You guys shouldn't have given up 10 runs in the 1st inning. Stop it.
That's your fault for absolutely being freaking terrible.
Ridiculous.
You know what? If it was 39-0 and it was the 9th inning, sure.
Yep.
Right? Sure. This is the 6th inning. You guys could come back. I don't know.
Exactly. The game's young. We're halfway done.
Beyond that, you're a professional. Go field the effing bunt and throw the guy out.
Make a play.
Like,
yep.
Nah, it's just like such a crybaby bullshit.
Like if the Bills were up, I like to
go hit me.
If the Bills were up 30 after the 2nd quarter, you're not going to play the game anymore?
Yeah, multiple times, right, in the past for the Bills, they did throttle down. And then they ended up losing games because they didn't put their foot down on people's throats.
Yep.
Last year, they were doing it for the first half. Lose a tough game to the Titans. You were beating them 14-0. It looked like you had the game entirely in hand. Second half, they come back, they win the game. Right? Like, if you kill the professional player. So what should they have done? Like, not played up, we're up by enough. Go out, get crushed, don't get crushed. I don't care, you're a pro. This isn't, I got to worry about somebody's confidence when they're a 12-year-old kid and I'm running up the score and it's 92 to 10.
Yep.
Like, there are moments where it's worthwhile. No professional can talk about anything happening in a game because I need to get my money too.
Yep.
Right? So Mauricio is supposed to not get a single if he can get it, which helps his batting average.
As a
keeps
fringe
him in
guy,
the game. Yeah.
like, stop.
Absolutely miss me. You crybaby bitches.
And an interesting point, too, this season there is no game 163, and run differential matters. So if that one run, that they didn't score that inning, but if he had scored and that one run is the difference between them getting in the playoffs and not, stop it.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Especially you're in the same division as me.
Yep.
I expect this maybe is coming down to the end. I am going to crush you.
Yep.
Cry.
Ridiculous.
Cry. Speaking of crying.
Yeah.
Red COO Phil Castellini with the where are you going to go? Let's start there. I mean, sell the team to who? That's the other thing. You want to have this debate? If you want to look at what you would do with this team to have it be more profitable, make more money, compete more in the current economic system that this game exists, it would be to pick it up and move it somewhere else. And so be careful what you ask for. We're doing the best we can to do with the resources that we have. And there's a deep drive to left field in Castellanos. It's a home run. So whatever you put on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy will say. And that's the thing, right? Like when you're looking at a team and ownership, this is the frustration that owners in the game of baseball are going to have to deal with. It's people like us telling you that you're being a punk ass bitch. Sell your damn team.
Yep.
Oh no, I'd have to move it. Why? You can't do well, right? In Cincinnati, What drugs are you on, man? Because the Bengals are there and they're not doing a pretty solid job of owning the franchise?
You can't tell me that the Reds don't have a good fan base either. Like, no.
Get out of here. You're like 45 minutes away from like Louisville, Kentucky. Like, you can pull a draw to your stadium all of the time. You know why you don't? Because you don't invest. And if I looked at your payroll, which we did, and we kind of researched and we do all this stuff, your payroll is entirely covered by the TV money. So everything you're paying to run the team is all the free money. So every ticket, every hot dog, every jersey, any other sponsorships on the walls, any of that stuff that you have, you're making money off of. So what do we think? What does a team on average make profitability per game? Let's call it $1 million. You're making $82 million in profit, $81 million in profit on your home games this year. Then let's go a step further. How much are all those signs around your entire stadium worth? Let's say that they're worth $10 million for the year. You're now at $100 million in profit. You're paying only $100 and something million for your team. You're not investing in the team to be a winner, right? You're not. Well, if I invested that money, I don't make a profit. And then no, if you invested more in the team, then they're better. You could charge more money for the shit on the walls. Mm-hmm. You can charge more money at the game. More people will come and sell it out. More jerseys will be sold, and there's a thing.
You make the playoffs, you make more money.
So when people are like, yo, we're showing up for you and you're not showing up for us, that shit's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Sell your fucking team, get out, kick rocks. Rant over.
Bars.
What's your, do you agree with me?
Oh, 100%. We talked about this before. I think, you can't own any of these teams without at least some type of substantial amount of money.
Yep.
And I don't think you should be allowed to own the team if you're not trying to be competitive. I hate that. It hurts the sport.
I don't think the Reds are the problem, truly.
No, I don't think so either. I think he said it poorly, but I think he could have just said, hey, listen, we're in a little bit of an in-between year, and we're going to, get back on the horse and whatever.
Just say, hey, listen, we don't have the money some of the other teams have.
Sure, there's a lot better ways to say than what he said.
And listen, I love that you guys would all like to have that the richest person you possibly could find will buy this team from me, right? So that they can then put even more money in and you guys can compete with some of these other teams in the league. But I don't have to listen to that.
Yep.
I am going to do everything I can to do what I want to do too.
Right.
Because I have ego, I have desires, I love this team, right? So I'm trying to find everything I could get with my ability to run this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not spending $15 million like some of these other teams are.
Yep.
Right? I am investing some money and I'm trying to put out a winner. But I'm not going to be able to do what other people do. And I'll sit down. I'll be very open and honest with everybody. Hey, here's what it is. But when you start talking about profitability, what would you do? Bro, you're making 50% profit on your team. Tell me businesses that make 50%. Lululemon makes 11%. 11%. But you need to make 50? Well, he should be able to make whatever he wants on a team. Mm-hmm. To y'all, no. This is a service business. You got to deliver your service. The fans want something. They won't pay for it if you're being an asshole.
Yep.
You don't get to make unlimited profits.
I think when owners deliver messages like this, it's just you're not showing the full feel of hey, your fans do matter and their opinions do matter, and you have to explain your message in a better way to show that the fact that you care and the people know that you care is important. There's a reason Mets fans love Stephen Cohen, and we didn't love the Wilpons.
And listen, and we've talked about it on this show. The Wilpons got screwed over.
Yes.
Because the Wilpons were spending money. Mm-hmm. The Wilpons had some bad deals go through, but they spent money on Jason Bay coming off of a monster year. They spent money on Cespedes, and then he falls off his horse and breaks his foot, right? They spent money on David Wright, and he gets spinal stenosis and goes from being a Hall of Fame level player who's one of the best players in the league to not even being able to function on a field at all, right? They had things happen to them. They weren't able to re-sign Jose Reyes because they got millions of dollars of theirs stolen by a Ponzi scheme that billions of dollars in economic impact happened from. Mm-hmm. So again, that's when I look at owners and I go, you might not like your owner, but remember what they actually were. I don't think the Mets were still functioning like a top 10 team. They weren't functioning as a top 3 team, and then people were like, that's unacceptable. Now they're operating as a top 2 team. They play a different game than everybody else, right? Got it. But what's happened because of this? You have this owner saying something, right? So he's obviously listening to our show.
Oh,
and he's
Stevens
saying
caused serious problems in the league.
Well, so perfect example. Who else is like, we can't play this game anymore? The Lerner family.
Oh, yes, right. They're going to sell the team, yes.
Nationals,
which we talked about earlier.
Nationals about, Yep. Again, you heard it here first.
Yep.
Right? Like, they got rid of what they did last year to clear space off to make it easier to sell because there's not the next owner can come in and he can figure out that he or she can figure out what they want to do and how they want to go with stuff. Right?
Yep.
All of that was pre-set up for this moment. But what facilitated this? Stephen Cohen in their division is going to spend to the moon. And the Nationals like, we're not going to win again. We see what's going to 3 years from now. 3 years from now, we won't be competitive. There's no shot for us.
Yeah, especially
we're billionaires. He's a decabillionaire, right? We talk about the difference. The difference between the poorest owner in Major League Baseball and Mike Trout, right, is like nothing. They're going to have the exact same amount of money in a couple of years. It's why guys can buy MLB teams or can get into MLB teams. But the difference between them is closer than that same guy and Steve Cohen, right? You just can't compete. You got to get out.
Yep.
And it's what's now changed the game. It's why this current CBA is fine and dandy. But between now and next CBA, I would expect 3 other teams to sell at minimum because you're not going to be able to stay in the game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's people like, the Mike Trouts, the Juan Sotos that are just pushing the cost of the top players all the way up. And God help whoever has to pay for Juan Soto because it's going to be a pretty penny.
And staying in that division as we are there.
Yeah.
Do you feel lucky that the Phillies had that one game where the Mets blew out like a couple arms in the same game and they snuck a win 5-4 at the very last moment?
Do I feel lucky?
Yeah, because you picked for them to win the division and they absolutely got housed.
They did.
By the Mets upside down and sideways all weekend long. Like, it was borderline a joke. It looked like a JV team trying to play against a professional team the entire time. It looks who's that guy they signed?
Schwarber?
No, he was 0 for everything.
That's not true because I made money off Schwarber getting RBIs.
He got did he get hit with a ball? Because at one point in time he was 0 for 12 for the series. So his insignificant hit didn't matter. Next, who's the other guy? I can't remember his name.
One Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, he played like garbage. Who's the guy they paid all the money to though? He won an MVP that he didn't deserve. Oh. Nope, still can't remember his name.
Brian Harper?
Oh, Bryce. Yeah, Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. So yeah, that remember when we were talking about
he definitely did deserve that MVP.
Where are they better than the Mets? Absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. Not a damn spot.
That's fine.
They're one of the most atrocious fielding teams I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, no, that's ugly. Yeah.
The Mets are better at every single infield position except for catcher. The pitching staff is wildly better for the Mets. Wildly. I would say Wheeler would be the third on a good day. Because Bassett looked better than him so far this season. I would say that Scherzer has looked better. And Tyler McGill is current favorite for the Cy Young Award.
You are so ridiculous.
Don't sleep on Cookie.
How am I ridiculous? Who's pitched better than Tyler McGill so far this season?
We're what? 6 games.
I don't give it. For all of the opening day starters in the league, Dennis. How is so okay?
Kershaw pitched better than
We'll use a perfect example. Can you pull up the Yankees? Tell me how their opening day pitchers
we're not talking about Garrett Cole right now.
No, we're talking about Garrett Cole right now. I just want to know what's his current ERA. And he has 2 starts.
He has 2 starts.
And he's an opening day pitcher. Let's just compare him and Tyler McGill.
Has McGill given up a run?
We'll hold on. We'll run this back.
I'm just asking.
We'll run this. Listen, we can just go line by line real quick.
All right.
Line by line real quick.
Where do you want to start with?
We'll start off right now with wins. How many wins does the opening day starter for the Yankees have?
Garrett Cole is 0-0 on the season.
0-0. Okay, Tyler McGill is 2-0. Okay, let's go to ERA.
Okay, a 5.59 for Garrett Cole.
Excellent job. He's doing magically. A 0.00 for Tyler McGill. Great. Let's go innings pitched.
9.2.
10.1. So he's more innings eater compared to Garrett Cole. Excellent. We're doing amazingly so far. How many hits has he allowed?
8.
6 for Tyler McGill. How many strikeouts?
9.
11 for Tyler McGill. So, what's his FIP?
It's a 6.08.
Tyler McGill's is a 0.85. So even though it's a 0-0, it's not like he's been entirely not dominant. He's a sub-1 ERA. So my point is, you can minimize, it's been 2 games, all you want, Yankee fan. Get out of here. Tyler McGill's been incredible.
The Mets staff as a whole has been incredible. From the starting side, the relievers, a little more questionable.
Let's also mention, just real quick.
Please do.
Garrett Cole played the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Who did McGill pitch against?
The Phillies, who were predicted to be the best.
And who else?
And the Nationals.
Who are supposed to be a joke.
With Juan Soto.
Still a joke.
But they beat the Braves.
I mean, anything can happen in baseball.
Exactly.
The Braves could suck this year. What's the Braves' record right now?
Let's take a look.
Unsure.
Because the Yankees are 500, so they're a meh team that's going to miss the playoffs, like we talked about. Mets are 5-2, 2 wins for this guy.
The Braves are currently 3-4.
What are the Phillies? I feel like they're 500 or something like that.
They got to be lower than that. They had to have lost their opening series to Braves.
The Phillies are 3-3.
Okay.
Oh, lucky. So fucking lucky.
They played the A's the first series.
So again, all I'm sitting at right here, all I'm sitting at is Jacob deGrom. The Infinity Stone hasn't even shown up yet.
Yep. No, listen. The Mets starters looked insanely good, and I know Dennis saw my tweet. It seems like the chemistry within our staff is real good.
Because you have dominance
for sure
all over. The unpredictability of the Mets is that Taijuan Walker's going to move to the bullpen.
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker is moving to the bullpen.
That's what our
think
long guy?
About that.
Well, also
forget long guy. The Mets need guys in their relief corps who can actually throw strikes, because it's the only downside that they've had this far, because nobody's scoring against their starters, and then they're scoring some runs later in the game and making it look like it was a game, and it wasn't.
You know who pitched real well from the pen? Peterson. Yeah.
Which, again, Peterson had looked really, really good, and he is struggling to get to the point that he can even get in the game.
He's our 8th starter. 7th starter?
13th starter?
Yeah.
So again, my whole thing, we've been talking about this entire time. Yeah, Peterson rocking a zero ERA.
They're like 4 innings?
Right now. A 0 ERA.
Because he came in after T when he got hurt.
He got 4 innings.
Also, DeGrom, I think, is out till June, not May. Just an update for you. I believe it's June 1 now.
That's everybody just saying that they're going to be super slow with his return,
which I'm fine with, because we're fine as a group.
Genuinely,
right now.
if they're looking at it every week, if they take an MRI and the stress reaction and his shoulder is gone and it's healed up, he can start doing stuff immediately to build back tolerance. So like the idea of what it is, that's all with him being out 4 weeks and then resting for. Or recovering for 6. I don't see that long of a recovery period for him. I think they're just trying to be overly aggressive with how long it takes.
Right.
But yeah, we're going with that. What's up? I want to hear from you two guys. You guys had a lot to say about the season. Again,
all I want to say is
Barrios outduels.
The best team in baseball right now is the Colorado Rockies.
Nope.
They are 4-1. And in those 4 games, they had played a series against the Dodgers. So maybe we're sleeping on them. Who knows?
It's going to be Rockies Guardians World Series.
Maybe.
Just put $5 on that bet. See what happens. Boba's bet for the day.
You guys have watched a lot of baseball. We've been talking in the chat. Everybody's been a little bit more primed up on the show this year, watching games. Who has been the player... Not named Kwan, right? Who's been the player that's surprised you the most? Everybody here knows the player who surprised me the most. It's Tyler McGill.
Yeah, well, and rightfully so.
Genuinely, you can say whatever you want. He threw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball It's not like he was out here and I'm just making this up. He's 6'7", 230, throwing 98 miles an hour, 99 miles an hour. Like he went to the Jacob DeGrom
He's simplified his motion, and he's just throwing absolute gas.
He literally looked like he copied DeGrom.
Yep.
Like he just copied him. He was like, all right, how do I do this, Jake? And he said like this. And he goes, okay, zip. So that's my guy. McGill's my guy. Who surprised you? Dietz, I know you got a guy off the top of your head.
So one thing is, obviously we knew the Rays were going to be good. They're not talked about because the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox are just a more fun team to talk about. Mm-hmm. But Ji-Man Choi is just off to a tremendous start this season. 16 at-bats so far. He's got 2 home runs. He's batting .563 with an OPS of 1729. So that's definitely our buddy Timmy is a big Ji-Man Choi guy.
Yes, he is.
But I always kind of just thought that was a joke, but he's off to a hell of a start, that's for sure.
Yeah, again, you look at his numbers, he's batting .563, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. My favorite is his photo of himself doing a full split, right? Fielding a ball at first base, absolute legend. That's a great take. That's a great bringing everything to the pod. Bringing it. Gerson's out here I got to top that now. He's Bill took the homer route.
Sure.
He made it easy for himself. Dennis is out here well researched. I got to show up.
I guess I could say Kershaw just because that is surprising in his first start. There's a lot of people. Ian Happ was playing really well for the Cubs. Low-key, the Cubs, I think, are actually going to be better than people realize. They dominated the Brewers in their first series. And I think we picked the Cardinals to win the Central, but
yep.
I had the Brewers at least in a close second, but it doesn't seem like the Brewers in general are playing well as a group. I think Corbin Burns' most recent start, he was better, but his first one was ugly. I'll go with Ian Happ. I think he's also on my fantasy team, and he's been playing well.
See, I thought you were going to stay with I thought you were going to stay with for a moment with the big feels with Chicago and Saya Suzuki.
Oh, yes. Well, the thing is with him is he also was he's not just a rookie. He's been playing pro.
Yeah, but he only has 15 at-bats.
He's been playing really well. Don't get me wrong.
And in 15 at-bats, he's got 3 home runs.
Oh, Dennis, also, I don't know if you...
My man's on the path right now.
I think Cody is breaking out of his slump a little bit. He had 2 home runs yesterday.
Nice. You know who else has been slaying the game this year is Nolan Aronado, another guy that might be an MVP candidate this year for the NL.
What's his line?
Right now, so he has 3 home runs. His average is .438. His OPS is 1658.
That is not bad.
Yeah.
Listen, the Cardinals are going to be scary. No doubt about that.
We got to go. I got to talk my shit. Right now. I think he's cooled off though.
Who's that?
Brandon Nimmo. He
had another home run yesterday.
His OPS is only 1137.
Why talk about him when you could talk about Marcana?
Well, because Marcana fell off even more. Dennis, can you pull up Bryce Harper for me real quick? Because the biggest comp for Brandon Nimmo in the entire world is Bryce Harper. They're nearly identical players for their careers.
You mean the guy that you're saying didn't deserve the MVP last year despite having 42 home runs and a 1044 OPS?
Yeah.
So far this year, Bryce Harper
on a playground field.
So far this year, Bryce Harper has struggled.
What's his OPS right now?
641.
Nimmo 333 batting average, 429. It'll just be 4 out of the last 5 years with an above 400 on base percentage. And he's slugging 708 for an 1137. Yes, like you said, he hit another home run. That's 2. So he's leading the league in triples. Just again.
And also, Jeff McNeil's batting .312.
The Mets, again, all I'm saying is the Mets have too many good players because some of these guys are sitting on days just because they need to get the other Savages.
But you know what? I really have liked how Buck is rotating everybody.
I'm telling you right now, that might be who I'm most impressed with that I've watched is Buck looks like he's pressed all the right buttons.
Yes.
Like when the Mets got hit for the 11,000th time by the Nationals, and now they've gotten hit even more by the Phillies because either the Mets are standing on the plate or the pitching in the NL East is going to be an atrocity this year. When Lindor got hit, Buck's first guy out. He's trying to fight and throw hands.
Yep.
And I don't know how old Buck is, but Buck looks like he's 80. Storming out there, ready to throw hands. Not anymore.
Yep.
And then after the game, like, yo, if you can't throw effing strikes and you can't throw, like, you don't deserve to be in the show. Like, get that guy the F up out of here.
Yeah.
Loved it. And then because of that, he's rotated well. Cano gets at bats. McNeil's getting at bats. Dom Smith. Everybody who's kind of congested is still getting time.
Yep.
You know, maybe not as much as you'd like to, but they're still getting time. It has been impressive. They got to do something, though. Something's got to give. They have too much talent on their team right now.
Someone's got to get moved for a relatively high-level reliever.
Yes.
Or Walker goes to the pen or something like that. I don't know if necessarily that would happen. I think if anything, we would move one of our starters for a reliever. I could see that being the case. But yes, they desperately need. I would like a lefty that is of higher caliber.
But again, I think Peterson's potentially going to take that role.
So that's an interesting thing that he pitched extremely well. He was only up because of injuries and things from AAA.
But you and I have also always said, right, like Peterson looks great his first time through a lineup, right? He spot up, he'll hit this. He then will just all of a sudden just lose it for whatever reason. But in a relief role, it probably works super well.
But you know what's interesting too? It seems like Buck has pretty much capped our starters at 5 to 6 innings, and then he's already going right to the pen. And I think that's kind of it keeps our starters from like falling off, but also now we're like utilizing the pen a little more, and that's why we've seen the back half of games get real interesting for the Mets. Which is why I think someone who's good in a long relief role that comes out and throws the 6th and the 7th and gets us to our Seth Lugo and Edwin Diaz or whoever's our setup guy. I think that's the best way to go about it. So I would just like to see if that addition is made, a great guy who can guarantee you 3 outs in an inning most of the time.
Yeah.
So and I think there's people out there that could be available for that. One of them being Raisel Iglesias, or someone who came to mind, closer for the Angels. Angels always need a little extra starting pitching, so maybe that's a move. Also, we really miss Aaron Loop at this moment.
We miss Loop a lot.
Yeah,
we miss Loop a lot.
Which
I think that a move for a reliever is going to happen. The challenge is that nobody wants to give up anything right this second.
Yep.
You know, so you have to do it internally. My thing is, you can't take as of right now, you can't take McGill out. When DeGrom does come back, somebody has to move.
Yep.
And then really, if you're looking at it, Peterson makes more sense even than Walker to just mix it up in terms of arms in the rotation.
Yep. Get a lefty arm in there.
So, interesting. Somebody's got to move to the bullpen.
But I think, too, with the way that everyone else has been pitching on the staff, there is no rush for DeGrom to come back.
No.
So don't. Take your sweet time. Come back when you're absolutely ready, and then we'll just
rush back.
Everyone.
Rush back. Don't wait.
No,
I need you to win the Cy Young.
It's okay.
It's
all good.
I need you to have a 1-1 ERA.
Like you said, if he misses 4 starts.
Yeah, but he's going to miss more than 4 starts.
Okay, fine. He misses 6.
June.
But if he gets, call it 25 starts.
No, he didn't.
25.
25. I don't know if he qualifies.
It's going to be close. If he has a 1 ERA, I think it'll be a travesty if he didn't win the Cy Young because he didn't start enough.
I just don't. Yeah. But we're here for the travesties. But
I guess so.
If he has that, obviously.
How many did he have last year? 15.
The season was fantastic. No, I don't even think he had 15.
Deets, how fast can you get that up?
What was the question?
Not as fast as I can. Deets was doing other work.
I was looking up something else that I can't find.
He made exactly 15 starts.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had a 1.08 ERA, and he went 7-2.
Right. So I get that. He didn't get to Cy Young. He only pitched half a season.
Yeah.
But if he had 10 more starts, I would give him the Cy Young if he had 25 starts.
So in 2016, he had 24 starts.
There you go.
And he had a 3.04 ERA.
And he won the Cy Young, right?
No.
No? What was his line for Cy Young?
His first Cy Young was which year?
Unsure.
2018?
Yep, that sounds right.
1.7 ERA, 32 starts.
Gotcha.
Then the next year, 2.43 and 32 starts.
And just to recap, that's the year he should have gone 30-0.
And then he had a 2.38 and 12 starts, but they gave it to a cheater.
Yep. The Mickey Mouse Cy Young.
And then he followed that up with 15 starts and a 1 ERA. What do you think the Mets do with him?
In the offseason?
Yeah.
That is a tough question.
He has to opt out.
He's going to. I need him to be healthy when he comes back the rest of the season.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I think that they would be willing to give him the same deal they gave Kershaw.
Kershaw or Scherzer?
Or Scherzer.
Yeah.
I think they'll give him the same deal they gave Scherzer, which is just 3 years. At like
a bunch of money.
Belligerently well paid.
Yep.
Because he's going to have to go to those because, like, dude, we don't know if you're even going to be able to live that long. Like, your body's just been falling apart.
Yep.
But going deeper, how's my man Giancarlo doing, Dietz? Giancarlo has struggled. 238
I would
batting
say
average.
Struggled.
2 home runs.
I think the Yankees are just the Yankees. They hit home runs or they don't do anything. It's one of the two.
You see John Sterling's home run call last night on him?
Yeah,
No.
he's got to go. He's almost as bad as Michael K. It's painful.
He did it again where he's like, it's high, it is far, it is caught at the warning track. Wow. Yeah, and that's happened twice to Stanton. Oh, actually no, it hit the wall last time when they were at Fenway. He's like, what did I miss? What just happened? What did I do wrong? Which I don't understand how he did that. Like, what are you watching?
Not the game.
Well,
the one at Fenway made more sense because
yes.
if I'm not mistaken, he was watching on a TV screen.
Yes, I think I think that they were still remote at that point, so that could be the reason.
Yesterday, there's no
Is Glaber
excuse.
starting every day?
No. They're doing like a rotation type thing where whoever's the DH, they'll put someone else in their spot. LeMahieu's played some second. He's played some third. Glaber's played some second. He's played some short. Donaldson's DH played third. Judge has played center already. Like, they're all over the place.
They're still so misconstructed. It's crazy that they haven't put themselves in a spot where, like, they know where guys should be.
Yes, off the rip, they definitely seem a little chaotic. Not sure what their identity is. That's kind of what the vibe I've gotten from watching their games. Which is weird because watching the Mets, that's not how I feel, which normally is how I feel.
And the Mets and them are doing the exact same thing, right? Where like Jeff McNeil's playing left field.
Yes,
right?
Well, they're doing it better.
But they're doing it because guys can play these positions, but they need to just get the like they're trying to keep everybody fresh. The Yankees, it just looks like they don't have anybody for 2 or 3 positions.
They definitely have a first baseman, that's for sure.
They sure
Rizzo's
do.
been fantastic.
They sure do. I don't know why there was ever really... Also, did you see that Cashman didn't even extend an offer to Freeman?
I mean, listen, I don't know why everybody's so surprised. How's Freeman been? Not good. Right? Like,
I don't know what his numbers are, honestly.
I'll pull
him up.
I'll pull up Frederick. 286, no home runs in 21 at bats. Batting average is fine, but his OPS is 756. Right? So now I'm sure Freddie's going to turn it around. He's a great player. He's going to get there.
He's no Matt Olson, though.
But Freddie's older.
Yep.
Right? Like, and it's a situation where, like, this is the thing. Like, this is the Judge conversation. Like, do you pay the guy? Or is he going to be too old and he's not going to be able to hit?
Did we do the Judge? That was last episode, right? We talked about that?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we covered it. Okay.
And that's my thing with, like, all of it. Do you feel like guys age out of the league faster than we used to think?
Yes.
Yes, and I think it's because of the philosophy as a whole of bringing people up that are more affordable.
I don't think it's even just that, though. We've seen over the past few years, like, swings have become more violent. Like, people are trying to be power guys, and I think that's just, like, taking more of a toll on their body altogether.
Right, but even so, like in older MLB, like, there were guys who'd play 20 years relatively consistently, and also have, and like they would stick with the veteran guy because he's been there forever instead of bringing up Joe Schmo, who's the youngster.
Well, so I guess my question then is, who is the young guy who was brought up? Who's the old guy now? The only guy I can think of is Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, he was probably 19, I think, when they brought him out, so he's been around forever.
But then he's also old.
He won a World Series in 2003. Like, keep that in mind.
Like, and that was when he was a rookie.
I mean, Nelson Cruz was drafted in... Oh, yeah, that was an interesting stat. Nelson Cruz was drafted the same year Spencer Torkelson was born.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, like, funny. So, like, there are some people who... But there's much fewer.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson Cruz is 41. He is old.
Yes. It's the Brady and Zach
But he
Wilson
wasn't
thing.
good last year.
I mean, he had a metric ton of home runs.
He was an all-star.
Yeah.
But he wasn't great last year.
He was an all-star, though.
Dennis coming with it.
He can say whatever he wants. right? Like he played last year on 3 different teams. No. So excuse me, he played on 2 different teams. So because I'm looking at his numbers for this year, where he's also not very good. He had a 725 in one place. He had 907 in the other. Right? The 907 carries, and it makes the entire lineup look better. But then you look at him, and when he got traded to Tampa Bay, he was meh. And this year he's super meh. 522.
I mean, I said he was going to be my all-star that would be a bust this year, but even last year, like, he still had the pop. It was just, he's not.
That's what he is now. He hits a bunch of home
runs.
But
that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, we don't like Cano. Cano is an older guy who's hitting right now and doing everything else. But like, I feel like you used to see a lot more like of that, where like they still really, really could hit. And we don't see it. Even Cano's down to 200 batting average after a hot.
So you're saying like the older guys just falling off in terms of.
Yeah, like
do you think it has to do with pitching also? Of like the pitching's just better all around.
I think it's all of the things. I think
it's a combination of everything. Yeah,
it's how well prepared you have to be a stud, and then it's how much the analytics play into it, and then you're getting to the point that just older guys can't go. But like we would say, a guy would start to fall off like 36. Yeah, but now we're starting to see guys falling off at like 32. Right now, like 32, we're like, no, he a 4-year contract. No, he'll definitely be terrible by the end of it. And it's like, man, we used to believe that wasn't the case.
Who's someone you think off the top of your head that's like just past 30? They're like, all right, they're getting phased out of the league already.
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I guess because they kind of moved on.
Like they moved on from Freddie Freeman after winning a World Series, right? And you look at what his offer ended up being. It ended up being not special.
Yeah, and it seems like Braves fans are not even gonna miss a beat.
They're already like, we love you. Bye. Like, how does he have to feel? Like, if I'm a player in the league, right? All that fake love, miss me.
And they're like, they hate Freddie now, and they love Matt Olson. Like Braves fans are like,
and that's fucking,
they've gone to the extreme.
That proves that Hotland is a dumpster fire fan base. Like.
Well, what about Acuna talking shit about Freeman?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get
I didn't even hear this. You guys got to lay this down for me.
He's talking that doo-doo.
I'll see if I can pull up the exact quotes.
All right. So in the Spark Notes version, while Dietz gets the real words up, he did an interview and basically said that when he was a rookie...
It was an Instagram Live.
Sure, interview, whatever. When he was a rookie, Freddie Freeman and some of the older guys were like giving him a little bit of criticism of how he was playing the game, how he had a lot of flair, eye black, all different things he were doing that he was like, no, we don't do that here. Like, kind of like big brothering him, and he didn't like that. And then Freddie responded with like, no, I got nothing but love for Ronald, whatever. And I have to imagine based on like the outward presence that Freddie puts out, I don't think it was meant to be like mean. I think it was just hey, I'm a veteran and this is how we do things here. Don't mess with the status quo of how we operate. And I think Ronald's obviously a polarizing guy, and is his own person and very electric as a player. And it just seemed like he took that a certain way that maybe it wasn't meant to be, but then he also put it out there like, no, I'm not going to miss him. And that was the direct quote. Do you have it?
It's not like the exact quotes, but okay. It's essentially like what it comes down to is when you put on a Braves uniform in that organization, there's rules. Freddie was like, it's the same thing with the Yankee stuff, except for it be like you can't put your sunglasses on top of your hat because you can't cover the A.
Yeah.
You could put eye black on, but it's got to be the 2 lines. You can't have it all down the face. Like it's all prim and proper type stuff. I think my favorite part about it, though, is when they asked Acuna about it. He like denied all this stuff, and then the reporter came out and he's like, no, like you said all this stuff, I was there for it. And it's just a mess of a situation altogether. But it's just interesting to see how nothing like this has happened with the Yankees yet, where someone's kind of opened their mouth trying to get around the old ways. But you could see like the Braves are kind of like the National League version of that, and now you're seeing like these young guys coming up that are exciting and want it to be more fun.
Yep.
And you have players speaking out against it. So I'm curious if the Yankee way is going to be something of the past soon.
Well, I think too for the Yankees, like even more so than the Braves, it's well known what their rules are. Like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, like as soon as he was traded, already had shaved his face and posted about it.
Same with Donaldson.
Like everyone knows, like that's the thing. You have to carry yourself a certain way. But I do think on the flip side, like you got like Aaron Judge, for example, has like custom cleats and things like that. Which whoever does his cleats does a great job. Shout out to Anthony. And and there's things like that where you can kind of be yourself while also adhering to everything that they believe in as the rules in their organization. So I think there are ways to handle it and go about it in a respectful way. And I don't think, honestly, sure, if the sunglasses thing is a rule, I don't think it's that big a deal to adhere to it. But I can see where, as the way Acuna carries himself, that like someone trying to like limit what he can do as a person, it can be frustrating.
Yeah, so like I just caught myself all the way up on everything, and he seems to, Acuna's now been asked about it, and he's like, that whole thing got blown way out of proportion and taken out of context. It does appear even by his comments that like he's very much like they weren't best friends.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but I also think that had to do with the fact that Acuna felt like he was one of the top 5 players in the league, but it was always Freddie's team. Right? And then he came up and he's a superstar and he's like, I want this to be my team, and he's not.
Right.
And Freddie always ran it. And the reason why they just won a World Series was because of Freddie and not Ronald.
Right, and he wasn't a part of that, and that's tough.
Ronald's got a lot that he's going to have to overcome himself. Because if they never win a World Series moving forward, right, then Ronald's not a superstar.
Yeah.
Right? He's just a really good player. No. He is a superstar. He's this, like, yeah, but you don't lift your team up. Freddie lifted a team up. He got the guys rallied around. When you disappeared, team got better. That's going to be starting to be and I think Acuna is kind of like, this positioning is interesting. I think let's wait and see how this plays out. But this is the Bryce Harper thing all over again. Bryce Harper led all these young guys who were coming up, who are trying to be outspoken. Thank you, Bryce Harper. Right? Yep. Because my man came up and he got all of the shit. And the reality is he was, you could say what this, that, or a third, like he was a white kid who was the phenom, and he took all the shit from everybody. So it's not about cultural, it's not about this. It was literally about, this is just not what baseball players do. And now that's broken up a lot. And there are people who still believe that it shouldn't be that way. And if those guys succeed, they'll say that it was right. Right? Freddie's like, hey, you got to do it this way. We won a World Series. Obviously, I'm right. And it's hard to come back from that. But, man, interesting thing. What do you think about Acuna? What do you think's going to be the return?
That's an interesting question.
Because he's borderline, like, him and Soto are similar.
They are similar
cats.
players. So I don't think his injury is something that he can't come back full steam from and be a savage. Like we saw, like he'll be back relatively soon. And in spring training, like the videos of him, working out and different stuff, he looked really good. So optimistically, I think he'll come back and be a great player. How that impacts where the Braves land, I think it'll be helpful, and it hurt them last year, but also they found a way to win anyway, so that it's to the point of you're not irreplaceable. Clearly, with Freddie Freeman, you can be replaced. But I think he'll still be the Ronald Acuna of old.
Do you think so we're seeing it in the NBA, right? There's a big conversation about it now in the NBA. And I think that it's going to happen to baseball next, and then it'll be football last. And
where's hockey?
What? Disney on Ice doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is in the NBA, the super teams aren't working anymore, right? And I think everybody believed that the super team was the thing because it worked away, and LeBron was such a public figure, and people didn't realize that it was working because LeBron's LeBron.
Yep.
Right? And they were like, oh, LeBron's only winning because super team, right? Name me the next super team we saw. And I was thinking about this morning when I came in. Golden State Warriors,
yep.
Right? Golden State. How long was Golden State's streak of greatness?
4 years?
3 or 4 years? Yeah, 3 years,
Three titles.
Yep.
Lost to LeBron for one of them, right?
They won 2, lost 1, then won the next one? Was that what it?
And yeah.
Yeah.
But they got 3 titles in 4 years. When you go back in basketball. The 80s are marked by streaks of teams winning. Mm-hmm. The 90s are marked by streaks of teams winning.
Right.
The early 2000s are marked by streaks of teams winning. Right? The late 2000s, early 2010s, streaks of teams winning. We don't see that anymore. Right? Everybody kept trying to put the super team together. How's Kyrie and Kevin Durant doing?
In a play-in game.
How did they do with James Harden on their team? Had to break it up, right?
Yep.
How's James Harden and Joel Embiid doing? Mm-hmm. Meh.
Yeah.
After the first couple of games, it's pulled down.
Right.
Right? How is Kawhi and Paul George doing? Bounced.
So do you think it's the new super teams are poorly constructed?
Yes. I think the
Golden State was much better constructed.
The player-focused development teams, when you think that you and your homies getting together, that's how great NBA is, mm-hmm. because you watch LeBron go and hang out with his homies and win.
Yep.
When you think that that's how winning happens, you were seeing the result, not the process.
Right.
Golden State was built through the draft. Right?
Yep.
That was a GM and a coaching staff building a team. Mm-hmm. They then added Kevin Durant and became a super team.
Yep.
But they already were winning without him. Right?
Yep.
So you then think, oh, I can just pull great players together and I'll win too. Kawhi won, right? Proved that you didn't need the super team. Right? Mm-hmm. He wins with the Raptors. They have a bunch of really good players and one superstar. He then goes, no, I'm out of here. I'm going to the Clippers. Paul George like, get me out of here. Get me to the Clippers. Clippers get bounced in the play-in tournament. Super teams don't work. Who won last year?
Bucks.
One great player and a team around him.
Yep.
So everybody who's been chasing after you need two superstars to win, guys, tell me when that's actually worked. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the oddity and not the rule any longer.
The Mavs are kind of doing the same thing, right?
The Mavs have been trying to find him running mates.
Yep.
And when they had Porzingis, it wasn't working. They traded Porzingis for Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie, which are better shooters around him who don't need the ball, and they got better, right?
Yep.
And it's not that Porzingis isn't a great player and can't be part of a winning culture. It's that you don't necessarily need to have that. You look at Atlanta. Trae Young is that guy. Mm-hmm. The rest of the team is super, super deep. That team is now winning. You look at John Morant. John Morant has now taken that team up. You look at the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, they have a odd situation.
It's different because Chris Paul is like a completely different player. He's not like a superstar demanding the ball. He's just a facilitator.
But he pulled it in and made that team great. And but Devin Booker is a superstar. But DeAndre Ayton was the first overall pick. Chris Paul was a first overall pick. Mikal Bridges was a lottery pick. That team is covered in talent, but it really is, we have one guy who gets to be that guy. Mm-hmm. We don't have a whole bunch of them. LeBron and AD and that fell apart by trying to make it a superstar team. Mm-hmm. So let's box that up, right? Let's box that up.
Yep.
You then have seen the NFL try to do that, right? And you just saw the Rams do it. Mm-hmm. Super team. Trade everything away. Let's consolidate it. You then watched this offseason the copycat league. The Broncos, let's do that same thing. Well, so now when you think back, the Broncos were actually the first team to do it. They had a really, really solid team that made it to the playoffs. And then they went and they got Peyton Manning. Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
So how do we... Tom Brady did it. Mm-hmm. He went to a team just like Peyton did. Super Bowl. Everybody's copycatting it. I think that you start to get
Would you say the Dodgers
lost.
The Dodgers have assembled a super team?
The Dodgers, and this is why I said baseball is going to be the next one to really feel it. Because baseball, we've watched the Dodgers manifest this pay-to-play structure.
Yep.
But we on this show have talked about the lack of development across the league. Mm-hmm. But I am starting to see young players being allowed to play. And now that young players are being allowed to play, we have some magic teams that are all of a sudden way better than we thought.
So, and here's I think this year in particular, and we've had a conversation of the AL Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
There's 6 or 7 guys who, when added to a decent team, have the potential to be great.
Yep.
The Tigers. Last year, we didn't give a shit about the Tigers. Nobody cared. They added a couple pretty solid pieces, and then Spencer Torkelson potential to be a legendary first baseman. All of a sudden, this team is interesting.
Yep.
A little bit.
Yep.
So I think giving those guys the opportunity when they're not at 27, at 20, and coming in at 23, 24, and letting them progress, and then when they're really in their prime and the team's assembled a little bit better of a squad, all of a sudden we're going to have all these young guys with all these really solid teams, and the competition is going to be way better. And I think that's where we need to progress to, and I'm excited about it. I think it's how it needs to operate.
But that's kind of what I'm kind of rallying around is I don't think the paying of superstars is necessarily what needs to get done to win.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that baseball will be the next one to have to like pull out of that. Mm-hmm. But I see it in the NFL too. It's where you're going and you're doing the Deshaun Watson deal to like because you think that this is the move, and it's how everybody's winning now.
Yep.
But I feel like you do still need to have the right cultural fit, and Peyton Manning is the anomaly, not the rule. Mm-hmm. Right? Tom Brady is an anomaly, not a rule. Matt Stafford was considered, I had said multiple times, I thought Matt Stafford might be the most talented quarterback in the entirety of the league, playing on the worst organization in the entirety of sports. And then he goes to a team where he has all that, he wins a Super Bowl. But he was the number 1 overall draft pick. Mm-hmm. Like, he had thrown for 5,000 yards in a season. He was a superstar. Deshaun Watson's not that guy, mm-hmm. right? He hasn't been that person. He had everything. He had Hopkins. He had all this stuff. He had all this winning, and he wasn't winning, right? Like, baseball, bringing in Freddie Freeman, to me, was like, you guys aren't building a team. You're just collecting baseball cards. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that will work.
Right. And I think on the other side of that coin is what the Braves did last year, and they said,
yes.
Cool, we have a solid team. We're going to add the right pieces, and we're just going to go win. And it didn't have to be a superstar player. It just had to be a really good player.
Yep. And that's why I really liked what the Mets had done, because Canna, we were talking about it before, what he's done replacing what amounts to be Conforto's numbers, mm-hmm. right? It hasn't been magical, but he's been really solid. And
he's been more productive than Conforto was, and that's what we wanted.
$13 million a year, and Conforto mm-hmm. was out here asking for $30.
Yep.
Like, it's why he still hasn't signed, or because, he hurt himself in a workout diving for a ball. And then you look at Escobar. Escobar's faster and better with the glove and a whole bunch of things that I wasn't expecting. Like, good, solid signing for what mm-hmm. he was. Like, that was an upgrade that didn't look – it wasn't a superstar.
Yep.
It was just like, hey, like, really good players. And then I like all these teams playing their young guys. So the Rays, I think, have it. I think it's always that right blend. Mm-hmm. But watching how teams, like, are constructed, I don't know if this Dodgers experiment works this year.
They are definitely off to a rough start.
Yes.
Even just like looking at their lineup and looking at the averages, like they're no one outside of Cody Bellinger's batting all right, I guess. But Chris Taylor looks good and Gavin Lux looks good. Everyone else is struggling.
But think about what you just said. What team do you associate Bellinger with?
It's the Dodgers.
So the guy who's a Dodger is playing well as a Dodger.
And by playing well, he's batting .222, but his OPS is .808. So.
And then when you think about Freeman, who do you think about? He's a Brave.
Yep.
So now he's not that guy yet. Like, he hasn't gotten there. So that like heart and soul of the team thing, mm-hmm. you can't just transplant it. It doesn't just move with you.
Yep.
Right? Lindor found that out last year. Mm-hmm. Right, he had to grow into it. Now, I feel like the culture there is better. Mm-hmm. Right, it fits a little bit more the vibe. Great, but like Trey Turner's about ready to leave. Like, he's going to be gone after this year.
Could be potentially.
So like, he in his head right now, is he giving everything for the Dodgers? I don't know, but he might not be a lifelong Dodger. You don't have team.
They have the potential to all, if they all catch fire, right? It's like, okay, cool, you have a fantastic team. But
the law
is that
of
going
large
to
numbers
happen?
and averages
yes.
will eventually be the team that we think, mm-hmm. because these guys' baseball cards will be that. Sure.
Yep.
But we know that that's not how the playoffs work.
Right. Exactly. And I think from the Mets' perspective, where they have put a bunch of their money and where teams in general have when they've added a bunch of good arms, is at the end of the day, the pitcher touches the ball the most. And I think that's important. and spending $30 million on 2 excellent starters to like really kind of have that force and allow the rest of your team to just be good, and that combination wins you a playoff game and a championship. I like what the Mets are doing, and I think the Dodgers did that last year.
And I think that comes back to how you pay guys.
Yep.
Right? So, like, I really liked the Yankees' pickup of Rizzo because of the lefty bat at first base, the leadership, the qualities. We all talked about this on the show. Like, he had Yankee blood type, right? So it was an easier transplant. But he struggled a little bit with the transition. But now you're seeing him as a Yankee, right? Feeling like a Yankee, playing well. Like the Mets with Scherzer. Scherzer's not expected to come in and be the ace of the staff, per se, right?
Tyler
McGill is. And who is he? He's a Met, right? Like, he's a Met. Jacob deGrom, he's a Met. Like, those guys are expected to be out in front, which allows all the other guys to just be themselves. Freddie went there, and they're expecting him to be Freddie Freeman and lead. And I just don't think you transplant that.
You know what's interesting, too, is like talking about Freddie Freeman, right?
Yeah.
He's you come in, okay, cool, we need a great first baseman.
Yeah.
Let me put him here. They had Max Muncy. Max Muncy was an all-star.
Yep.
He batted 30 points less on his average, but he hit 31 home runs.
Yep.
He led the league in runs and plate appearances. So he's there all the time. His OPS was an 896.
Yep.
I'm drunk. That was Freddie Freeman's OPS. His OPS was an 895.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So you just added the same player?
Yep.
For a lot more money.
For a lot more money, and now Max Muncy is in the lineup every day, or he's moving positions or whatever.
He's doing whatever.
He's doing something different.
Yeah. And now you've lost heart and soul of who you are. And that's my point. Like, that's where I was talking about the NBA. Like, the Lakers, you have to look at the Lakers and say that this year's team was more talented than the team that they won a championship with in 2020, right? This team was more talented. Malik Monk was a top 15 draft pick. Guy scored, played really well. They had talent all over, dripping with it. At a number, Carmelo Anthony comes in, right? Super off the bench for the Portland Trailblazers. Was coming off the bench for them, scoring well every night, doing his thing. You look at the team, and their cards all said that they should do well, right?
Yep.
But it was a misconstructed team.
Which I think we all knew kind of from the jump.
That felt like supervillains, right? It felt like I just collected a group and expected them to mesh. And in sports, you believing in who you are matters so much.
Yep.
Right? I think the thing that made the Yankees so good when they used to be good 20 years ago was, like, being a Yankee mattered to each guy who was on the team. Right? Jorge Posada, die for the Yankees.
Yep.
Andy Pettitte would die, right? Bernie Williams. You think of those teams, right? And everybody in it was part of that team. When Roger came, there was a strong core of people associated with what winning was going to look like. Roger was a cherry to an already successful organization.
Right. So who on the Yankees do you think of as like they would die for the Yankees right now?
Nobody.
Yeah. That's my
And
thought.
that is
'Cause
my
if
point.
you ask anybody, it's like, who's the face of the Yankees? Aaron Judge. Fine.
Sure. He's going to be gone.
He just said he's going to talk to all 30 teams. Brett Gardner or Derek Jeter or whoever that was there forever would never, ever.
I honestly think, and this might... I think you guys would probably agree. I think Judge needs to go in order for the Yankees to find their identity.
The Yankees need to, like, the reason why I think that they've been trying to hype Volpe up so much is that they need a homegrown guy who's a stud.
Yeah.
And it was Glaber. But they've given up on Glaber.
Yeah, they've let too much negativity happen.
And because they've given up on Glaber, you got to move Glaber. Because you guys have proven you don't believe in him. And all Glaber's done, I think my guy's got like an 850 plus OPS this year. And Glaber's not getting enough at bats.
Yeah, he's getting, him and LeMahieu are splitting time.
And
right?
he's splitting time with people, but he's what you want, right? Like, he's what you need the team. Huh?
He's an 850.
Right, 850 OPS.
Well, why would you play him when you have Kiner Falefa doing so well?
Kiner's a better defensive shortstop, right? And I know that was a joke because he's batting insignificant numbers. Mm-hmm. But Kiner is legitimately a shortstop, right? The objective of bringing him in was defensively that Glaber struggled offensively because he couldn't think about anything else but that, right? And that's fine. But Glaber was going to be the guy. He was the homegrown guy.
Yep.
And every team needs a homegrown person. And it has to have that homegrown core to have a chance. Because I don't think you can just buy your way to the titles.
No,
I don't.
think
there
so.
has to be somebody who the name on the front of the shirt matters to them and has yielded a culture. So this goes back to the Acuna-Freeman thing.
Yep.
Acuna, you could be mad about what he did to you, but his culture that he wanted to be there led to a ring on people's fingers.
Yep.
And now it's your team. You are the homegrown guy. This is Acuna's team when he finally comes back. Will it be a winning team? That will dictate who you are. Because if you never win and you're the best player, Mike Trout, if you never win and you're the best player, the culture that you have generated is not growing people into success.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Mike Trout's generated culture. Not at all.
And the Yankees, since they lost Derek, don't have a culture.
Yep.
They have that, like Stanton, like
they're the bare bones of the Yankees in that they have previous team's aura,
yes,
but no one to carry it forward.
You're remembering what it was like to be a Yankee.
Yes, and
right?
you're like, all right, that'll automatically make us the Yankees. Wrong.
And they kept believing the evil empire aspect.
Yep.
Oh, they'll just pay for whoever they want. But that wasn't what got great Yankee teams. Right up till 1995, they sucked. So from 1970s till 1995, they were terrible. Mm-hmm. Right? 1996, magical. Built around homegrown players. Right?
Yep.
Built on the back of Buck Showalter. And that was what sprung them forward. Then you look and they go through a little mini drought. But they have A-Rod. Yes, A-Rod was the piece that ultimately led to another World Series, but there was still the homegrown talent all around it.
Yep.
That's why they won. Who is the homegrown Dodger?
Belly and Lux, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Do we think that is going to be enough for the lineup?
If Bellinger actually picks it up this year, then maybe. But
maybe.
Right now, of those three that we just mentioned, Gavin Lux is the only one that's doing anything well. Bellinger's got 2 home runs. That's kind of like helping his numbers.
And that's what I was saying too. Like Max Muncie has played the majority of his career with the Dodgers and gotten his most opportunity. Same thing with Bellinger, obviously. Chris Taylor, those are who I think of as their core guys. And if you look at their World Series team, those are all the key players there.
Yeah, and again,
Kershaw.
You look at a guy like Gavin Lux. Gavin's 24, right? He hasn't even been able to substantiate himself as a great Dodger.
Yep, and they were having him play center field last year, which clearly had an impact on his confidence because he wasn't playing well because it's not his position. And he was being asked to go out there and be great, to go try and win a World Series as a center fielder. That's not easily done in the big leagues.
So yeah, that's where I'm sitting. I think that we're gonna get surprised this year.
Okay.
I don't know what the surprise will be. Maybe it's not a surprise because it might be the Mets.
The Rockies win the division.
But I would tell you again, that for me is the point I would make for the Mets, right? It becomes that if they win, it's gonna be on the back of that Pete Alonso is a superstar first baseman and that Jacob deGrom is an all-time great pitcher, right? And that homegrown Tyler McGill takes a huge step forward for them,
yep,
right? And that Brandon Nimmo, drafted by the organization, is the heart and soul at the top of the lineup and leads them to victory. And then those other guys they brought in were carrying that vibe, right?
Yep.
They were carrying those guys forward-facing this. Because right now, who leads our outfield? Brandon Nimmo. Who talks in all the interviews? Nimmo, right? Who talks in all the interviews for the infield? Pete.
Pete, yeah.
Right? Then Lindor. Mm-hmm. And that's the point. the homegrown, you were associated as a Met. Those guys.
Max Scherzer came to the Mets to pitch with Jacob deGrom.
Yep. And like the teams that like you look at Boston, even making it last year, like Boston had to completely rebuild themselves to get back to where they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. Like, who is playing our style?
Yep.
And if you're
and
confused
Trevor Story,
about that,
I think, was an excellent pickup for them. He fits in perfectly,
especially if
for everything
Bogarts goes.
Yes. Yep. Which I definitely foresee that being the case. I saw some tweet. I think it was yesterday.
He turned down a big extension. It looked like from what I saw on.
Yes,
Twitter.
but then I think whatever their 1 year, they offered him something for 1 year, and it was like garbage. And obviously he's been there forever, so I think he was anticipating something a little more extensive, and it was not whatever he was looking for. So I could see him moving on.
do you think Bogarts is overhyped?
No.
Cool.
I don't think so. I think he's, like, defensively, he's not the best shortstop, but he is really good, and he's a great hitter.
Cheater.
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear that, though. But, yeah, no, I think he's a really solid player. I don't think he's Correa. I don't think he's Lindor, but I think he's top 5.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you have a thought on that, or are you like looking at his numbers right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers right now on the season. He's batting .263.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a .649 OPS. His last 2 years, he was .860, .860, .939 before that. But then you start looking at it, he's an .811 OPS lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 30 this season. And you just start looking at it from like we were just saying, like, why are you paying 32-year-old guys?
They offered him 4 years, $90 million, which I guess is lower than what a guy like him would get on the open market.
But
what did Story get?
Trevor Story.
Because I kind of think of them in the same boat.
Yeah, sure.
Contract. Dun, 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 dun.
Well,
6 year, $140 million.
Okay.
And what was the one for Bogarts? 4 years, 90?
Yeah.
So you're talking $22.5 million a year. So they're borderline on the exact same pace.
And they're both the same age too. So.
But what I'm reading also is Bogarts already has a contract.
Yeah, well, he's got an opt-out at the end of this year, and he's made it clear that he's going to opt out unless he gets a new extension.
But their extension was the 4 years, 90, which would be $22.5 million a year.
And what, Story got 26?
And he's signed through 2025, so he's got 3 years left. It puts him almost an identical contract.
But he's not going to sit on that when he has the opportunity to go hit free agency.
Bogarts
at this age.
But at that age, my point is that Story is the exact same age.
Right. Bogarts signed his extension originally when he was 26, and it was a 6 year, $120 million deal that had the opt-out starting this year.
Right.
But he's about to be 30, and he has, 3 years left, you said?
Right.
So his money would go substantially down if he is a free agent at 33.
What I'm saying is they're giving him an extension on top of those 3 years.
Okay, that's what that was? Okay.
They gave him a 4-year extension on top of his 3 years. So what they said was, we'll pay you for 7 more years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 29. That takes him through 36, 37, right? And he'd be making $22.5 million. And that's kind of my point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're not Correa.
Well, that's the problem.
You're not Lindor. You're Trevor Story.
Yep.
Like, and Trevor's making that almost identically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel like you start getting into, dude, you're gonna go somewhere else to lose, because you're not the cherry on top.
Do you want to take a shot as to who his agent is?
Boris.
Yep.
Like, and that's the drunkenness.
It's so annoying.
If I'm a player in the league, I probably am avoiding Boris at this point for, like, as much as I possibly can. I think Boris is shot.
But you know what it is? It's like we as the people not involved in the contract are like, yeah, this is not a smart idea. But to Xander Bogaerts in his year, it's like, we can get you 30. We can get you $32 million a year. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to go do that. I'm worth that? Yes, you are.
But yo, I can't hear any of that shit. Like, do your own homework.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, I don't think they are.
I don't think anybody does their own homework.
Because obviously Michael Conforto didn't.
I think almost no one does their homework. Like, you know what? Let me look up, what do people who are exactly like me currently make in the market? And then you go and look at it and your agent go, yo, we can definitely, like, Michael Conforto. Like
did he comp himself to Bryce Harper?
He had to have.
Right?
He turned down $20 million a year, $100 million guaranteed money from the Mets to go into free agency, played like shit, turned down $19 million for 1 year to then go into free agency and do whatever the hell you want. And he still hasn't signed. And he's never going to sign. Michael Conforto's retired. Like,
imagine just like falls completely off the face
Michael
of the earth.
Conforto is going to be like in the KBO soon.
Either that or if
someone... Would you rather have Michael Conforto or Yasiel Puig?
Oh, God. I'd rather have Conforto, genuinely. But, like, look, the article that Sports Illustrated put out 2 days ago. Ex-Met Michael Conforto not close to signing with the team.
What's going to happen with Conforto is there's going to be a team like come July or August that has an outfielder go down. They're in a playoff hunt. They're going to sign Conforto to be, bless you, their replacement rather than make a trade. And it'll be like a 1 year, call it 10, 15 million just to get it done.
Yep.
Like,
I actually think less than that because they'd only get him for half a season.
Well, prorated, I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I could see that happening because you know what it is? He's so middle of the road at this point that like I don't think there's any team that's out there looking at him like, yes, we need this guy on our team.
But that's the craziest thing is the craziest thing is that I think Michael Conforto is a better player than Nick Castellanos. And that's not a drunk thing to say if you look at their careers.
Sure, yes.
They're slightly different players.
Yeah, but I understand
what's Castellanos' career OPS?
I'm working on it.
And Castellanos is in his 30s, right?
815 is my guess.
And Castellanos is in his 30s, right?
Unsure. Yes.
He is 30.
30?
This year's his age 30 season. So Castellanos for his career is an 815 OPS.
Oh!
So
what a guess.
So he's an 815 OPS, and Conforto for his career is an 824 OPS, and Conforto, this is his age 29 season. So again, my point to you is so how much is Castellanos' contract for?
His contract is 5 years, $100 million.
So
that is the deal. Like, so Mikey, you effed up.
Brother.
You effed up because somebody sold you a dream that you were something that you weren't. Because like Castellanos' best year in home runs ever was 32, right?
Last year he had 34.
34. Conforto's best season was 33. Like they're the damn near identical players, guys. Damn near identical players.
So that he had to have looked at himself as Bryce Harper. That's the only.
He had to have comped. He had to have. Somebody told him, we are selling you that you won at the college level. Remember the bullshit that he was saying at the winter meetings? Boris? No. When he was talking and Sandy Alderson was like, just stop it. You don't remember that? We talked about it on the show?
I don't remember what he said.
So we were talking on the show, and he had like the cards, and he was talking about Michael Conforto.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, Michael has won.
Oh, you know what's even worse
in the
about
College
this whole thing?
World Series, the Little League World Series, he's won at the professional level, and he has done is been one of the best hitters and power guys and consistent players in the league since he came in. All he does is win. Looking forward to him signing for $290 million. Like,
Bill, you want me to drive you nuts? Do you know who Castellanos' agent is?
Scott Boras.
It's Scott Boras. So you have the exact same player, and he turned down the deal, essentially.
And he's going to sign a 1-year deal and somewhere, and he'll go out and he'll hit fine, and then he'll sign a 5-year, $100 million deal at 30. You are the dumbest boy in school.
The dumbest in all the land.
I think we can wrap it up on that.
Absolutely.
On that is Michael Conforto, the dumbest boy in school.
And who do you think is going to surprise us this year? Because you know what? It does seem like there will be some. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode. Let's do it.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.